then many countries, many people fall into the security trap because of the propaganda of the United States. They think, yeah, there will be a war between China and the blah, blah, blah. So we should buy more weapons. We should not develop. That's not first develop. That's first secure our security. Then we look after the development issues. But the point is, once you lose the strategic window opportunities, it's a catastrophe for all peoples, not from Taiwan, not only from Taiwan, from mainland China, but from all over the world.
Okay, then maybe let's move now to the second part and talk a bit about Taiwan. And maybe just to begin with, are you worried about the military conflict between the People's Republic of China, the mainland, and the Republic of China, Taiwan?
You mean between China and the United States over Taiwan?
Or between the two Chinese republics? I mean, between the mainland and Taiwan. Because look,
either between mainland China and Taiwan, or between China and the United States. I think there is an old Chinese saying which goes like that: 我们不惹事儿，但是我们也不怕事, which means that we do not provoke or initiate trouble, but we will not be afraid when the trouble is imposed upon us. Like in the Korean War. At that time, I think the Chinese military lagged far behind the United States. Mm-hmm. So when you mention, are we afraid? We are not afraid at all. We will not provoke, but we will take it, whatever it is, when something bad is imposed upon us. I think in particular for the Taiwan issue, I mean, in the potential, hypothetical situation of a war between China and the United States, I think first we are fighting a just war. They are fighting an unjust war because there are no legal basis, any legal basis for the United States to militarily intervene in the cross-strait relations. You know, at the same time, the global governance, we have many bilateral talks with the U.S. scholars. So based on my experience, about 80% of the U.S. scholars, when I ask them the legal basis for the U.S. to militarily intervene in the cross-strait relations, they would mention the protection of democracy. That's the first 80%. Another 15%, they would claim that because the United States has national domestic law, Taiwan Relations Act, because we have national domestic law, we have to execute our national domestic law to militarily intervene. That's the second. Third, another 5% of the U.S. scholars, they would very openly, frankly claim that Taiwan is an unsinkable aircraft carrier, which the United States could not afford to lose. It's the very important in the geopolitical and military sense. So that is a very frank opinion. But there is no legal basis. I mean, either for protection of democracy or invocation of domestic law, they are not legal basis for a state to use force against another state in international relations, because in the United Nations charters, in the Article 2.4 of the United Nations Charter, it mentions the fundamental principle of international law, that is a prohibition of the use of force in international relations. Only two exceptions. One is self-defense. The other is the UN Security Council authorization. But neither the protection of democracy nor the invocation of domestic law fall into those two exceptions. Yeah. I mean, if the domestic law or protection of democracy could be legal basis for a state to use force against another state, then there would be many wars. Yeah, whenever Japan want to fight another country, they can just mention this. I can first enact a domestic law, then I use force. No legal basis.
The problem is the United States and Europe too doesn't give a damn about international law. We know that. They don't give a damn when they invade Iraq. They don't give a damn when they bomb Serbia. They don't give a damn when they deliver weapons to Israel in order to bomb the Palestinians. They don't care. big powers don't care about international law. They use international law to justify, but they don't care about it. I mean, not in the sense that they feel bound by it. So we know that the United States will do something bad. And the fear that I have today is not so much that the US itself will intervene in order to help Taiwan. My worry is that they will try to do with Taiwan what they did with Ukraine, which is use them as the people who have to fight the war that the United States want. So they will push them into the bayonets of mainland China and try to bleed mainland China the way that they are bleeding Russia right now, right? Because to the United States, this is the best scenario in the world, right? You get to fight a war and to weaken a strategic enemy without bleeding yourself. You just need to give a bit of weapons, and it even helps your own economy back home, as we're seeing right now, right? So how do you have hope? Because my hope is not with the United States. I think the United States is a lost cause. But my hope is that the people in Taipei and the people in Beijing, the responsible politicians in the two different parts of China, in the two Chinas, because one is the People's Republic, the other one is the Republic of China, right? That there will be a solution there. Do you have hope for that as well? Or do you think Taipei and Beijing can defuse the situation?
Let me see 2 points. First, if they dare to military intervene in China, let them come. We are not afraid in the Korean War. We will definitely not afraid in any future potential conflict between China and the United States. I think, for the comparison between China and the United States, it's not whose military weapon is more advanced. It's not who can win the war. It's that who can afford to lose the war. I think in China, we can sacrifice everything to win the war because it's a just war. It's a secret cause for all the Chinese people, even the ordinary Chinese people. If you pick up anyone who in the streets about this issue, they will say that if we fight for the Taiwan, I would like to sacrifice my life. I think for winning this potential war, we can sacrifice everything. Every single person, every single thing. That's the first point I would like to mention. We are not afraid. If they dare to come, let them come. I will be the first one to go to the battlefield. That's the first point I would like to mention. Second, like you just mentioned, I quite agree with you. You and me and many people from not only China, but also Taiwan, but also people all around the world, we should disclose, we should tell people the fact that we should not fall into the security trap, which you have mentioned just now. It's kind of security trap. I mean, either for Philippines, either for Taiwan, it's a security trap. They would like to invite the kind of agent war. They just provide some weapons, and then either for Philippines or for Japan or for India or for Taiwan brothers, then they would like to sit behind, then you fight together. They win all because they are not cared about the life of the peoples. So peace is a common interest for both parts of the cross-relation. Peace is common interest for people all around of the Asia Pacific. Peace is common interest for all the global people. When I mean the security trap, I mean that for the United States, they are trying to relate everything to national security concerns. They are trying to hype up the situations, the security situation in Asia Pacific. So many resources in those countries, they should have been devoted to their development. Those resources should have been devoted to take care of the Pakistan flood, the Afghanistan humanitarian disaster, the Somali famine, even the California fires. So those resources should have been devoted to development, devoted to those good things. They, because of the security trap, are taken to boost the arms race because the United States is setting up the security trap. Then many countries, many people fall into the security trap because of the propaganda of the United States. They think, yeah, there will be a war between China and the blah, blah, blah. So we should buy more weapons. We should not develop. not first develop, that first secure our security, then we look after the development issues. But the point is, once you lose the strategic window opportunities, it's a catastrophe for all peoples, not from Taiwan, not only from Taiwan, from mainland China, but from all over the world. Of course, from the Asia Pacific people, we have had lessons. In Afghanistan, they left without taking care of any consequence. In Vietnam, they also fought alive because the U.S. in another part, it's in another it's the end of Pacific. They will not be harmed. So what I would like to say is that people like you and me, and people from Taiwan, from mainland, from Philippines, from South Korea, North Korea, from all over the world, we should be very clear. We should not fall into the security trap intentionally designed by the United States. And also, I'd like to say one word, because you are based in Japan, to the Japanese people. I also mentioned this case, because of the historical facts. The UK and Germany, UK and Europe, they fought many years. They fought the UK and France for the 100 years war. And Germany and France also have many years war in the history. But finally, only when they achieve peace, then they achieve prosperity. It's the same case in Asia Pacific. Whether the relation between China and Japan, whether the relation between China and India, eventually we have to first achieve peace. Then we can develop, co-develop, we can achieve prosperity. History is reality. We should seriously deal with history, but still we should look for the future, for the prosperity for our children and our next children of the next generation.
No, of course, you're absolutely right, and I of course agree with you. The problem that we have is that the peace is a fragile flower, and it's easily destroyed when trampled on. So the Taiwan is such a hotspot because it's a leftover conflict from the Second World War. Actually, ever since 1949, there has not been an agreement between Taipei and Beijing who rules who in which kind of configuration. And the conflict about Taiwan between Taipei and Beijing used to be who is China, right? We at the beginning in 1949 until the 1980s, Taipei pretended to be China. That's why it still has China Airlines and the Bank of China and so on, I forgot what the name is, but a lot of things in Taiwan are named China because for a long time Taipei pretended to be the capital of China until it got absolutely clear that that's not ever going to happen, and Chiang Kai-shek will never take back the mainland, and we basically have a North-South Korea situation, North China and South China, but we don't frame it as such, right? The conflict today has morphed into something else. Taiwan, the government of Taiwan would like to be independent, or at least some people, and the Beijing says, no, wait, you are part of me, you're part of China, right? And this is this conflict, and we've seen how Hong Kong has been reintegrated into China, first under a very under a good framework, one country, two systems, in order to allow the people in Hong Kong to have a different constitution and live under a different code of law. Now, this is something that I don't believe that the Taiwanese people will do, because this agreement has been basically led to a dead end. Let's put it that way. Do you have a political way that you think that these two entities, the mainland China, the People's Republic, and the Republic of China in Taiwan, that these two entities can continue living together the way they live together now? I mean, right now we have a status quo which is peaceful and prosperous. How do we continue with that peaceful and prosperous status quo without drifting into war?
As you mentioned, as for the historic context, the conflict roots, in terms of root, it goes back to the Chinese Civil War, which ended in 1949. So the Communist Party, I mean, for the mainland, they emerged victorious on the mainland, establishing the People's Republic of China. While the Nationalist Party, I mean, Kuomintang, Chiang Kai-shek, retreated to Taiwan and continued to rule there, maintaining the Republic of China, this government. So this split resulted in two separate governments, each claiming to be the legitimate government of all of China. I mean, all of China. So either Taiwan or mainland, they both claim to be legitimate government of all of China, including Taiwan, including mainland. So that's the historic context. So as for the political stand for the two sides, you know, the PRC, we think that our position is that Taiwan is part of our territory and advocate for eventual reunification by peaceful means. Mainly, of course, we not banning the use of force if necessary. We have a law there, and Taiwan, however, has a varied perspective among its population. Before Taiwan came to regime, the percentage is the percentage of people advocate for unification with mainland is quite big. But after Tsai took into office, it declined. So some advocates for reunification with the mainland, some favor formal independence, others prefer maintaining the status quo. So I think the key includes two elements. First is about the change of the position on part of some of Taiwan local officials from claiming legitimate government of all China to claiming independence to only the tiny part of the Taiwan. To translate into Japanese context, it is equivalent to Hanshu claiming to be independent country instead of being part of Japan. And second element is about the U.S. leverage, of this point. I think this is the kind of typical hegemony. The country, it had a separate force. They are originally from one country just because of geopolitical competition, just because they want to achieve geopolitical gains. They would not allow the mother country to retake that province. So it's just a hegemony, no legal point, no sensible point. It's just a hegemony which plays out here for the United States.
Yeah, but people in Taiwan, they often say that officially Beijing has claimed Taiwan for the last 70 years, but practically it has never had its soldiers on Taiwanese ground, right? And the matter of the fact is that we have a government in Taiwan which is independent of the government in Beijing. We have two political entities. And do you have any do you like understand that the Taiwanese would like to maintain their independent status and also have their own passports and so on? It allows them to do a lot in the international world.
I would not recognize, of course, not recognize that, and I will not understand that because it's just because of the hegemony of the United States, and also because some people. Their minds are brainwashed by those propaganda. But finally, I think eventually we will take it back. Let me give you two examples. I often had meetings with Taiwanese friends. Just I mentioned, my cup is given by one of their Navy captains. And also, if you look at the official map and official constitution of Taiwan is still the one which was produced back in 1947, and one of my friends, his hometown is in Hunan province. He told me that as long as he retired from official position, then his first wish is to visit mainland China to respect his ancestors in Hunan province. So the cultural link and those spiritual link is just over there because of those years of development. Also because of the U.S.-China competition. So we are in a not a very good situation, but that does not mean that we will have to swallow the bad effect produced by those bad elements.
These, I understand your position too. It's just when I look at international relations, there's several ways of getting getting an arrangement that works for all sides. And a very interesting example is Mongolia. The Republic of China, if you look at an official map of the old Republic of China, it included Taiwan, mainland China, and Mongolia. And then everything changed during the Civil War. Before that, like when the Republic of China was born in 1911, and actually Mongolia declared its independence, and the independence of Outer Mongolia was for a long time not recognized. Was not recognized by Beijing and was not recognized by Taiwan. Taiwan actually, when the Republic of China was having the Security Council seat, blocked the recognition of Mongolia and the entry of Mongolia into the UN for a long time. That was one of the only things that the Republic and the People's Republic agreed on, which is no, Mongolia is not independent. But then in the 1960s, in the early 60s, both the Republic and the People's Republic stopped opposing the independence of Mongolia. And today, China has no problem with Mongolia. Mongolia is an independent state, and the relationship between China and Mongolia is quite good and very beneficial. So why would the People's Republic of China not take the same approach to Taiwan, say like, okay, do whatever you like, we will be friends anyhow, we belong to the same family, however you constitute yourself?
I mean, history is developed with many factors that plays out. I will not comment about the history. The reality is reality, whatever reason about that. But I mean, the presidents of the past cannot be excused for the future operations, for the future approach. So still, I think I will keep my position. There is no sacrifice, no third road as for the Taiwan. We will take it back for whatever sacrifice.
Okay, and do you have any advice also for the reunification process, how to make this beneficial for all sides? What's the vision to make this, to also, not just say like, okay, we will take it back, but what would be the good part if Taiwan accepted?
My proposition is that to promote more communication between the people. And the more communication between the people, I think gradually, and now first, I think at least you cannot impose about that. I mean, the status quo, we have to accept that it is a status quo because of the China-US competition, because the US is there. But I think as long as there are more communications between Taiwan and mainland, I think people will change their mind. It's not a good way to impose something to other people, but I think as long as more people come to mainland, when they see the progress in the mainland China is not something in their minds which has been described by the American propaganda. I think they will change their mind. I think the ideally the final result between China and between mainland China and Taiwan China is that we develop very fast. We develop our own system, both political and economic system. And then when Taiwan finds one day that it lags far behind mainland China, at that time, that is the juncture, I think the Taiwan people will voluntarily return to China. That's an ideal way in my mind.
Yes, and it might be a possible way forward. So let's all pray for peaceful relations in the Pacific and in the world. So thank you very much, Captain Tian, for your perspective and your time today.
Thank you, Pascal, for the opportunity. Thank you. I enjoy the conversation.